You're watching Lawndale Community Cable Television, Channel 60. The following program has been made possible in part by a grant through the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation.
Good evening, fans, and welcome to another exciting Channel 60 sports presentation. In the hearts and minds of many, the most exciting Channel 60 sports presentation in any year. Our annual crosstown rival between the Hawthorne Cougars and the Leuzinger Olympians. We're here at Olympian Field tonight as the Cougars have made the very, very short road trip down the street to play the Cougars. This is a game that has all kinds of implications for both teams. Most importantly, the loser probably goes on to CIF playoff action, and the winner will probably be packing up for the season. Both teams come into tonight's contest evenly matched with records overall of 5-4. There you see the Bay League standings in front of you. 5-4 overall for Leuzinger and Hawthorne, 4-2 in Bay League competition. It's no mystery to anybody that Peninsula has again won the Bay League title. Going into today's competition, they were 9-0 overall, 6-0. They had a 245 contest at Peninsula against Santa Monica. Right now, let's go down the field level for the opening coin toss.
All right, captains, I'm Mr. Smotrys. I'm going to be the referee for this evening's contest. Mr. Castro is going to be our line judge. Mr. Gray is our umpire. Look. If you guys have any questions during the game, I want you to talk to one of your referees. We don't want to hear the talking between the teams, okay? White, you guys are the visitors. We've got a dollar coin that's heads, that's tails. Call it in the air nice and loud. If I drop it, we're going to pick it up and toss it again, okay? Nice and loud. Tails! You call tails, and it's heads. You call the toss. You're going to receive. White, which goal do you want to defend? You defend the scoreboard. Turn your back to the goal you're defending. All right, blue is going to be receiving. Guys, come here for a second. You guys are the captains of your team, okay? We're going to be looking at you guys to keep the players under control. It's a good game. We're out here to play football, okay? Shake hands, bring your teams out. Let's have a good ball game.
And there you see, fans, the results of the opening coin toss, won by the Olympians, and they've elected to receive. So they get the first break of tonight's contest. Let me just say to you, I'm Rufus Washington. Joined tonight, of course, as always this season, by Jason Miller working with me in the first quarter, Brian Knox working with me in the second one. We're all expecting a very, very exciting game. And Jason, there's certainly an air of excitement amongst all the fans here. I mean, you can sort of see folks just waiting to get this one underway.
No doubt about it, Rufus. Right now, this is the biggest rivalry in the South Bay. But Rufus, one thing I wanted to tell you that what Leuzinger has to do to win They have to exploit some mismatches because number 3, Greg Toombs, is out, and the offensive line has got to pass block for the Olympians. For the Hawthorne Cougars, they must control the ball. That means run the ball behind that big offensive line, and they also must account for Keith Miller on the blitz. We saw him kill West Torrance with that.
And of course, the thing that makes this rivalry so exciting, fans, as I'm sure Jason can attest to, is that most of the players on each of these teams are no strangers to each other. You're talking about kids who've grown up together through Pop Warner, junior high school football, and various other sports, not just football, basketball, baseball, in the yard, in the park, behind the field, anywhere you name it. These guys have played each other for many, many years, and for a great many of them as seniors, this will be the culmination of many years of athletic competition, and both are extremely sky high tonight, wanting to get out of here with a win, and of course wanting to extend their season by at least one more game in the playoffs.
Yeah, Rufus, everybody's friends. You're not going to see many fights. Everybody's friends except for that 1 week in November where these two teams go to the gridiron battle.
Well, we're just about underway, fans. As I mentioned, the Olympians are receiving the opening kickoff. Back to receive for them is Devin Green, number 15, Rashawn Cook, number 2, and Charles Taylor, number 8. And of course, we've seen Rashawn Cook break a couple of them this season. So this thing has the potential to start off with a big bang. Of course, Hawthorne won last year's contest by a score of 36-12 at Hal Capfield. The Olympians here looking for a measure of revenge. In fact, the Olympians have been on the short end of this game for the last 3 years. But rarely has one game meant so much to both of these schools in terms of the fact that you're basically playing for a playoff position. And both teams obviously know that, as well as both coaches. Head coach for the Olympians, Bobby Greer. Head coach for the Cougars, Dan Robbins.
Yeah, Rufus, this is do or die right now, and the players know that, believe me.
And we're underway. It's going to be a short kick taken by Charles Taylor at the 20-yard line. Comes back to the middle of the field. Loses maybe a yard on the return. They're going to spot it at about the, looks like they're saying the 16 from our vantage point, looks like the 20.
Yeah, Rufus, that's the 20-yard line, but right off the bat, excellent coverage by the Hawthorne Cougars getting down there. Charles Taylor makes a mistake, tries to cross the field. Good staying in lanes that time by the Hawthorne Cougars.
And, of course, that was Milton Gutierrez who kicked off for the Cougars. And, in fact, kicked away from, the key thing is he kicked away from Rashawn Cook, and no surprise that that would be the strategy there. Now we've got an official timeout.
Rufus, we saw a little bit of this last week as we see Leuzinger coming out with 4 wide receivers. They wanted to do a little bit with the run and shoot. They're going to stick with it since it worked last week.
They put 3 wide outs over here to the right side. Let's look at the offensive line, though, the Olympians. DeAndre Hines is a tackle along with Glenn Bradford. Guards are Reuben Ely and Eblin Smith, and the center is Jose Gonzalez. The receivers for the Olympians, McGee at the tight end, and the wide receivers are Taylor and Rashawn Cook. Cook, number 2, had a big game last week in the backs. Ken Riley, number 7, the quarterback, along with Eddie Miller, number 5, and Keith Miller is actually number 4, shown there's number 15. Number 15, of course, you know, is Devin Green.
Rufus, one thing about Leuzinger's offense, Daryl Jeter is still on the bench, so they're not going to get much help from the backs and tight ends because they're in a 4 wide receiver set. That means there's no tight end, only 1 running back. So that means the front 5 for the Olympians are going to have to do a good job against a strong, physical Cougar defensive front.
And, of course, Ken Riley coming off a huge game last week when he threw for 3 TDs and rushed for 2 others in their 43-7 win over Torrance. And when we talked about momentum last week, Jason, as the Olympian attack just totally unleashed itself on Torrance, we wondered if they saved a little bit for this week. It certainly gave them a lot of good momentum, and we're going to find out right now. As you mentioned, they come with the 3 wide outs on the right side. Here's a pass in the flat, cutting back across to Rashawn Cook. It's going to be for a short gain.
I tell you what, Rufus, not a bad call to start it up. A quick, safe pass. You're not going to get an interception against you right there. Good call by the Olympians to open it up now with 2nd down and 7. You see Rashawn Cook. They already made it a point to get Cook the ball.
We know, of course, that the key man on defense for the Cougars, number 5, Buck McCorvey. No doubt we'll be seeing his name. This time to keep it on the ground. That's Keith Miller with the carry. It's going to bring up a 3rd and long for the Olympians now.
Keith Miller unleashed his wrath that time against Kete Tuafu. Just bikes him and keeps his feet moving. That's what makes it a good run by Keith Miller. Now with 3rd down and 4, the Olympians, before this week, they'd have put the ball up in the air, but I happen to think that they should give the ball to Keith Miller, and I think that they will.
So it's a 3rd and 2 now for the Olympians. Let's call it 3. If they spot it at the 26, they need to get to the 29. Cougars show blitz. Olympians come straight up the middle. Miller with the carry again. It's going to be close, maybe just short. Big spot here by the officials. And they're going to have to measure it, Jason.
Yeah, Rufus, weeks before that, they'd have put the ball in the air, but they know they can run the ball with Miller, both Millers, Keith Miller and Eddie Miller and Devin Green, so they have a little bit more confidence in the running game to open up.
Well, the Olympian side of the field is already packed, and the Hawthorne side is now starting to fill in very nicely also. Before this one's over, fans, you can expect to see a full house on both sides. Let's see if we can get in on this measurement here. And looks like it's a 1st down just by the nose of the football.
Rufus, one thing you might take a look at is the Olympians have a mismatch. They have Keith Green, who hasn't started much and played much so far, taking Greg Toombs' spot. And as we see Keith Green splitting out to guard Rashawn Cook. That's what they want.
And, of course, Greg Toombs being a key defensive back for the Cougars. Keith Miller once again with the carry, picks up about 3 on the play. So the Olympians open with the pass, but since they have gone to their ground game.
Rufus, legend has it, when Leuzinger plays Hawthorne, no matter what kind of offense they run, they seem to run the ball just about every play of the game. That's how Bobby Greer thinks that these Olympians can beat the Cougars, with Keith Miller on the ground.
The 2nd down and 6, ball spotted at the 33-yard line. We've got 8:49 left in the 1st quarter, fans. This is our opening drive. Olympians took it at their own 19-yard line. They've picked up a 1st down, and they still have possession of the football.
But when you stay with the running game like the Olympians are, they have a chance to go deep with the corners and safeties binding up just a bit.
Go with a single receiver on each side. Charles Taylor over here to the near side. Once again, they keep it on the ground. And they cross over into Cougar territory. Keith Miller with the big carry.
Rufus, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. I talked to Keith Miller before the game, and I've never seen that look in his eyes in the 16 years that he's lived. Keith Miller came to play. He came to play last year against Hawthorne. Big players step up in big games, and that's what Miller's shown he's doing so far.
So here you see the replay once again. You see Miller with the carry, and the Cougar defensive backs are the ones having to make the tackle on that play. Once again, they keep it on the ground this time for a short gain. So I believe so far Keith's gotten every rushing call so far in the Olympian attack tonight.
Yeah, and that spells doom for the Cougars, because when Keith Miller gets the ball, something positive has happened. And the Cougar defense, they thought Leuzinger was going to come in here passing, but they come in here on the ground, they're going to be able to pass sooner or later.
There you saw Eddie Miller coming on and Devin Green, number 15, coming off. Eddie Miller now in the backfield along with Keith Miller. Cougars show blitz once again. This time they hand it off to Eddie Miller. He goes around the left side. Going to be stopped for no gain on the play.
Rufus, that's not a very good run that time by Eddie Miller. Miller has to get upfield and make as many yards as he can. He can't stutter step in the hole like that. That puts the Olympians now on 3rd down and long. Now they have to pass the ball. But this, of course, 4-down territory.
3rd and 3 for, actually 3rd and long. The scoreboard shows 3rd and 3, but that's a good 3rd and 7 that the Cougars need to pick up here. The Olympians need to pick up in order to get the 1st down. Riley drops back to pass. Riley goes deep, going for Rashawn Cook. And Cook makes a reception. Does he hold on to it? No. The referee says incomplete. Great throw and nearly a great catch by Rashawn Cook on the play.
And the ground's going to cause this, Rufus. As you look at Kenny Riley getting out of the pocket, shows that cannon of an arm he has. Rashawn Cook is going to leave his feet, and boom, he's got it. The ground caused it, but he didn't have possession.
So the Cougars back to receive the punt now. Jermaine Chapman and DeJuan Scott. Well, excuse me, that's Brandon Russell, number 4, back to receive for Hawthorne, along with Jermaine Chapman. There's a kick, looked like it's going to sail to Russell's side, and Russell does pick it up. Russell comes around the other side, and he's going to be brought down. Decent little return, though, for Brandon Russell on the play. We've got 7:27 left in the first quarter, fans, and now the Cougars go on offense for the first time tonight.
Rufus, Brandy Russell is Hawthorne's Rashawn Cook. He's explosive as we look at the Cougar offensive line.
There you see the offensive linemen for the Cougars, Gutierrez and Terrell, the tackles, Camacho and Camazaro, the guards, and the center, Omar Souf, one of the captains. We'll get you the rest of the lineup after this play. They open by keeping it on the ground. Nice carry there by the Cougars. That's Brandy Russell. Russell has almost 400 yards in rushing this season coming into tonight's contest. 377 to be exact, along with 4 touchdowns. Of course, we know the other running back, and there you see the replay, Brandy Russell, finally brought down by Rashawn Cook. So it's a 1st and 10 for the Cougars from their own 34-yard line. Ray Rivera with the handoff again to Brandon Russell. This time the Olympians defensive very well.
The Leuzinger Olympians have got to be able to stop the run to have a chance in this game because they haven't stopped it much this year. Hawthorne's going to run the ball. We know that. That's where their strength is. They ran it well early.
Here you see the receivers for the Cougars. Fanua Nagata, number 33, Marquise Johnson and Jermaine Chapman, number 7, 8, respectively, are the wideouts. Nagata comes this way. They keep it on the ground once again and met right at the line of scrimmage there by Eddie Miller.
Rufus, if you watch wrestling, that's a headbutt. Keith Miller met the running back right in the middle of the hole with his face mask and turned him back.
There you see the backs. Rivera, of course, the junior quarterback, first season starting, has done a fine job. Brandon Russell, number 4, and of course the workhorse in that backfield, number 2, Milton Gutierrez. And Gutierrez and Russell line up in the backfield, but we got flags on the play before this one gets underway.
If this is against the Cougars, this is what the Olympians want. They want to keep the Cougars in a 3rd down and long, but this looks like it's against the Olympians.
That is against the Olympians. The officiating crew for tonight, Ron Smotrys is the referee, assisted tonight by the rest of his crew of Art Gray, Gary Van Zant, Felix Castro, and Charles Davis. So it's going to be a 3rd down and 2 now for the Cougars from their own 41-yard line, this being their opening drive of the contest. We've got a scoreless game so far with 5:52 left in the first quarter. Olympians show blitz rather. Rivera rolls out. Rivera lets it go. Short hops it to its intended receiver. Courtney Ketter. It looks like it was intended for. Also in the area was Jabari Hamid.
Rufus, you saw Hawthorne try to get out of the pocket that time, but Ray Rivera meet Eddie Miller. Good play. The Olympians want the Cougars to get in those passing situations, and they think that they can get that all night.
And on the 4th and 2, now we got a flag on the play, and this is going to be a big penalty here. Well, let's see what the official call is here. And it is against the Olympians. That's a tough break. They had the Cougars in punt formation with Rashawn Cook being the only man back, but the penalty gives them a first down.
That's a killer, Rufus. This is a big game. Winner goes to the playoffs. Loser doesn't. You cannot have those plays if you're the Olympians.
So that takes it to the 47-yard line now for the Cougars, where it's going to be 1st and 10. They keep it on the ground, and they're saying there's a fumble on the play. Let's see how the referees say. Both teams are pointing each way.
One of the Leuzinger players had the ball, but I guess they call it second down.
So the Cougars maintain possession. It's going to be 2nd down and 10 now for the Cougars. Watch, as you'll see on the replay here, the ball is loose. Oh, it was loose for a while. Olympians had a good shot at that, couldn't come away with it. Great camera work here by the crew of the Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
Look for Keti Tuafu right here on the 2nd down and long.
Hit him, Evelyn!
Once again, they keep it on the ground, and right now, the ground game's not being very effective for the Cougars.
Let me tell you, Rufus, Miller's played well on offense. He's played well on defense. 3rd down and long again. Cougars in a passing situation. Rivera's favorite target on one of these 3rd down and longs is Keti Tuafu. I look for him to go to him pretty soon.
So it's a 3rd down and 7 now for the Cougars. Here's a pitch back to Gutierrez, comes around the left side, gets stacked up by his own men, gives the Olympian defense an opportunity to get there.
Brian Bruno, excellent job staying outside for the Olympians. He stops the Cougars short of the 1st down. Now their punting team has to come on. The defensive end, Brian Bruno, stayed outside perfectly. An excellent job by the Olympians at the play. And now it's every special teams nightmare, Rashawn Cook. Hawthorne tried 2 fakes last week, Rufus, so who knows what's up.
And it doesn't look like the Olympians are biting on this, and they don't at all. They complete the pass, and looks like it's going to be a 1st down for the Cougars. So, as you said, Jason, last week they converted 2 fake punts, and tonight they convert yet another one, and that gives them a 1st down.
Big game. We know Dan Robbins likes to go into that bag of tricks, and he's reached in it early already. Fanu Nagata on that catch that time.
Well, the Olympians certainly seem to have been anticipating the fake punt. However, they were unable to break it up. So it's a 1st down and 10 now from the Olympian 41 for the Cougars. Olympians show blitz with Vera dropping back the pass. Has a screen set up. Oh, man, he's got a couple of big linemen out in front of him. Brings it back across the middle and is finally brought down by the Olympian, led by number 9, Jeremiah McGee.
They know the Olympians like to blitz, and that's what you do against a blitzing team. You throw screens, you run draws. Let's look at it again. Best offensive line in the league, plays it well. Ray Rivera baits the defense, and then it's just Cougar big man on defensive backs. Is a great run that time by the Hawthorne running back Salunga.
Well, they certainly set the screenplay up beautifully that time and worked it to perfection. Ball spotted at the 26-yard line now of the Olympians. Cougars on the march. It's their opening drive. Gutierrez goes around right side. Stacked up after just a few yards on the play.
I'm sure Dan Robbins thought he can run the ball against this Leuzinger defense, but early on it hadn't been successful.
So the Cougars have kept their drive alive here. First time courtesy of a Olympian penalty, second time on the fake punt. Now it's a 2nd down and 9 from the 24-yard line. Come with a full backfield. They give it to, looks like Gutierrez. And Gutierrez gets down inside the 20. It's going to make it a 3rd and short, about 3rd and 3 now for the Cougars.
Now the Cougars can go to that same play. They can go to a counter. They can go to a rollout pass by Rivera. But on 3rd down and short, this is 4th down territory for the Cougars.
Here you see the defensive line for the Olympians. Smith and McGee, the linebackers. Outside linebackers and the middle linebackers. We'll get back to those guys in just a moment for you. 3rd and 2 now for the Cougars. Boy, they come with a full backfield on them. They keep it on the ground. That's Brandon Russell with the carry. Russell's going to have the 1st down and then some. So the Cougars are mixing it up very well between Russell and Gutierrez. As I mentioned, Russell, and there you see Brandy on your screen, coming into tonight's contest with almost 400 yards himself. Milton Gutierrez comes in with 568 yards and 7 touchdowns. So now we've got a timeout on the field, but let's look at the Olympian defensive backfield. James Murray, the corner, along with Devin Green, number 15, the free safety, Rashawn Cook.
Let me tell you what, Rufus, it starts all with that big offensive line for Hawthorne. They're starting to take control. The Olympians look a little bit tired out there. Miller going both ways. Made some big plays at the beginning, but they seem to fade as the drive has gone on.
Another Bay League action tonight. You got Inglewood at West Torrance. You have North Torrance taking on Torrance. And, of course, as we mentioned, an earlier contest today, which we do not have a result for, that's Santa Monica at Peninsula. But all of those games are inconsequential in comparison to tonight's contest, with the exception of the fact that Santa Monica obviously will get a playoff slot, and the winner of this game will get the other playoff slot to come out of the Bay League. Basically, 3 teams come out of a league. Peninsula and Santa Monica are already locked, and these 2 teams are fighting for the other position. Keep it on the ground.
Hawthorne's found that they can run off tackle. Milton Gutierrez does a good job that play. They found that they can run off tackle against the Olympians, and that spells doom for the team with the L on their helmets.
So, let's see, they're going to spot it officially at the 6-yard line, where it's going to be 2nd down and 5. We got 20 seconds and counting left here in the first quarter. This is Brandon Russell with the carry. Russell is going to be stacked up. Not a lot of running room when you get down that close, Jason.
Nope, not a lot of running room, Rufus, but that offensive line is starting to take over. So they might not get the yards this play, but they can get the next play. 3rd down and short. They can do just about any play in the playbook right now.
And that signals the end of the first quarter. So after 1 quarter, we've got a scoreless contest. But the Cougars have the ball, and they're knocking on the door here at Olympian Field, as these 2 teams vie for that coveted playoff spot in the 1996 CIF Southern Section playoffs. Both teams are experienced playoff teams, but this year looks like only one is going to be able to make the trip to play next week. Right now I'm going to be joined for the call of second quarter action by Brian Knox. And as we prepare for the second quarter, Brian, your observations on what you saw there in the first quarter.
Well, Rufus, tonight's classic rivalry has the makings of a Shakespearean tragedy. It has an intriguing plot, and it also has a twist of irony, and the outcome means a certain death for either one of the teams. The intriguing plot pits the cousin against cousin and comrade against comrade. Of course, number 76 for the Hawthorne Cougars, right tackle Tony Terrell, is cousin to senior wide receiver Rashawn Cook for Leuzinger. And number 5 senior linebacker Buck McCorvey is good friends with number 7 Kenneth Riley for the Leuzinger Olympians. And this twist of irony in tonight's game, I mean, each team has 4-2 records, and it's just unbelievable.
Okay, they back, they keep it on the ground on the third down play. No signal from the official. And they're going to say he was stopped for a little, no game on the play by Eddie Miller. Brings up a fourth down now. And a decision-making time for the Cougars.
But as I was saying, the twist of irony is that both teams have an identical record of 4-2, and the outcome means certain death for either one of the teams.
Okay, well, here's the fourth down play. The Cougars indicate that they're going to go for it. Riley on the center. Let's watch it right here, fans. Once again, they keep it on the ground. Brandon Russell, and he does not make it. So the Cougar offense, fails from inside the 5-yard line of the Olympians. The Olympian defense, following that old Cleveland Brown adage, Brian, they did a lot of bending, but they didn't break on that play, on that drive, I should say, because the Cougars marched the ball all the way down to the Olympian 3-yard line. Could not get it in.
You're going to see a good classic field battle tonight. I mean, we have two good defenses here, but I think the best matchup of the night is going to be the Hawthorne defense against the Olympians offense, because I should say that the Leuzingers have a very potent ground game. They've rushed for a lot, and I should say that the defense for the Hawthorne Cougars has a very good pressure.
Okay, first down and 10 from the 4. The Olympians keep it on the ground. Keith Miller with the carry. Gives them a little more breathing room as he takes it out to the 8-yard line. Right now, the key for the Olympians as we talk about what they need to do right now, and that is protect the football and not succumb to a turnover this deep in their own territory. So once again, their quarterback, Ken Riley, brings them up to the line of scrimmage. They got a receiver in the slot over to this side, but instead they opt to keep it on the ground with Keith Miller carrying again.
I'd like to send congratulations out to senior quarterback Kenneth Riley, who was named the Male Athlete of the Week in the Daily Breeze. Last week against Torrance, he had 5 touchdowns. He had 3 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. And he's a part of their potent ground game.
All right, so it's a 3rd down and 6 now for the Olympians. Riley drops back the pass, throws a slant over the middle. Got a late flag, comes in from the back judge, though. And this may be defensive interference against the Cougars. And if it is, it'll keep the Olympian drive alive, I should say. And it does go against the Cougars, Brian. But as you were saying about Ken Riley, and of course you were here along with me last week to cover that game of the Olympians. And you're right, Riley had a hand in 5 touchdowns for the Cougars. Just a big, big game for him last week. An outstanding honor to be named Athlete of the Week in the South Bay.
And I should say, if the Hawthorne Cougars can contain them tonight, then they can shut this offense down for the Leuzinger Olympians.
Let's look at the defensive lineman for the Cougars. You got Hokalatua at tackle, and we'll get to the rest of them in a moment. We're sorry about that, fans. We're working without the benefit of a headset. Now we got a flag on the play. And it's going to go against the Cougars. Okay, once again, this time we'll get through them very quickly. The tackles for the Cougars, Holikatua and William Vea. The defensive ends, David Salunga. We've called this name a many times this season, along with Fanua Nagata. So it's going to be a 1st and 15 for the Cougars now. Fumble on the play, but looks like the Cougars recover. So the Olympians recovered. I'm sorry if I say Cougars. But Brian, right now it looks like the Olympians have a little bit of difficulty on their second drive of the game. We're in second quarter action with 8:40 left, getting their offense on track. Let me talk about the linebackers for Hawthorne right now. The linebackers, of course, are Kete Ta'afu and Buck McCorvey.
I'd like to reiterate what Jason said in the first quarter, that Hawthorne is missing some of their three of their defensive players. One of them is free safety Greg Toombs, and he needs to be replaced tonight.
Okay, 2nd down and 15 now. Riley drops back to pass. Riley takes a good look, goes over the middle, misses his intended receiver, and that was Jermon McGee that pass was intended for.
I got 3rd down. 3rd down right now?
Riley had had a good look at him that time and just overthrew his receiver, Brian.
Well, Hawthorne's 3-4 defense is putting a lot of pressure on Kenneth Riley tonight.
There you see the defensive backfield for Hawthorne. Greg Toombs, a free safety. Jermaine Chapman, number 15, the safety. And the defensive backs, Keith Green and Sheldon Hunter. So it's going to be a 3rd down and 20 now for the for the Olympians. Riley once again dropping back to pass. Riley throws over, hits his receiver, but it's going to be way short of the 1st down. It's going to make it a 4th and 5th, about a 4th and 15, let's call it. Buck McCorvey in there defensively for the Cougars on that play.
I talked to a defensive coordinator for the Hawthorne Cougars. That's James Swain.
There you see Buck McCorvey on your screen.
And what he plans to do, he plans to go in man-to-man coverage on defense, which will free up the other 7 people to pressure the Kenneth Riley on offense.
And there you see the punt handled by Jermaine Chapman. So from their own 43-yard line, the Cougars ball, 1st and 10. So the Cougars get their 2nd possession of the game tonight. Brian, the first possession went real well for them up to a point, I suppose you could say. And we'll get you in here in just a moment as they come up to the line of scrimmage. Ray Rivera, the quarterback. Rivera hands it off. Looks like the Gutierrez on the inside. Brandon Russell, on the inside. Russell with a short gain on the play.
Well, tonight's matchup, it seems like the success is going to be in the ball control. Who can move the ball quickly and efficiently? And that seems to go in favor of the Hawthorne Cougars right now.
Cougars come out. They line up in the I. Now they split out of it. Russell and Gutierrez, the running backs. Once again, they give it to Brandon Russell, where he's hit right at the line. And Eddie Miller brings him down from behind. However, there was a flag on the play. It's going to be holding against the Cougars.
Let's go to the replay. Here we see number 4, Brandy Russell. He's bouncing off to the side of the field, but he's met by a bunch of Leuzinger tacklers. Excellent pursuit on the Leuzinger defense part.
So that's going to make it a 2nd down, and they show 18 with 7:32 left here in the first half. I think right now, Brian, there's so much emotion riding on both sides that neither team is settled down, and it may be until the second half before they do. Ray Rivera dropping back under pursuit, gets it away, short hops it to his intended receiver. Looks like he was throwing that pass in the direction of Courtney Ketter, I should say, and it falls incomplete. As you watch the replay here, you'll see Rivera nearly stumbled there, drops back. Good pursuit there by the Leuzinger defense. And there his pass is short hop by Ketter. So it's going to be a 3rd and 17 now for the Cougars. Big defensive stand coming for the Olympians here. Cougars keep it on the ground. No surprise here. They're going to be stopped way short of the 1st down. And this should bring up the punting situation. I don't think you'll see Coach Robbins and his crew pull any fakes on this play.
Well, you never can tell with Dan Robbins. He is a big play coach. Anything is possible with him.
Dropping back to receive for the Olympians, number 2, Rashawn Cook. Gutierrez, number 2, handling the kicking duties. Looks like Rashawn may get a chance. Then again, he may not. Rashawn's going to step away from it and let it bounce, and it's going to take a huge Cougar roll inside the 10, inside the 5 to about the 4-yard line. So the Cougars catch a big break there on the punt as they pin the Olympians once again deep in their own territory to open the drive with Brian with 6:21 left in the first half of a scoreless contest.
Rashawn Cook seemed to be a little indecisive on that last play. I think he should have caught the ball and at least try to go for some positive yardage. I mean, this puts Leuzinger in a very bad position.
So Ken Riley brings his crew out once again. They come out with the 4 wideouts this time. Riley lets it go across the middle, misses his intended receiver, number 9, Jermon McGee. Riley showing the arm strength. Now he's just got to add a degree of accuracy to it, Brian.
I tell you, this defense for the Hawthorne Cougars are going to put a lot of pressure on Riley all night. They're running that man-to-man coverage, and they like to bump and run on those receivers. So it's going to be really hard for the receivers for the Leuzinger Olympians to run their routes tonight.
Here you see Rashawn Cook coming off the field. This time they come with the 2 wideouts. They keep it on the ground, however. Eddie Miller with the carry. Cougars Olympians trying to mix it up just a little bit now. Buck McCorvey in on the stop for the Cougars.
Eddie Miller is among the top rushers in the South Bay. Coming in tonight with 8 games, he has compiled 51 carries, 380 yards, 7.5 yard average with 2 touchdowns.
So it's a 3rd down and 4 from the 10-yard line now. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This is Keith Miller with the carry. And let's see where they spotted. This is going to be close to the 1st down, fans. And the referee signals that it is a 1st down. So the Olympians get to keep the drive alive here with 5:22 left in the first half of a scoreless contest. Both teams just a bit tight, I think, Brian, in terms of tonight's game, because last week we certainly saw the Olympian offense rather a lot more fluid. Once again, they keep it on the ground. That's Eddie Miller with the carry. It's going to be a short gain on the play.
Well, last week against Inglewood, I should say Hawthorne, they did an excellent job of containing Devin Flowers and their ground game over there in Inglewood. And so I think they can contain Leuzinger's ground game tonight.
2nd down and 6 now for the Olympians. Once again, they're going to the ground attack. Riley with the keeper, takes it out across the 20. It's going to make it a 3rd down and short now for the Olympians. Now we've got a timeout being taken by Hawthorne, Brian, with 3:59 left here in the first half.
Last week in Hawthorne's game against Inglewood, the defense for Hawthorne did pitch a shutout, and I must say that the only score was against Hawthorne's offense. Inglewood did run back an interception for a touchdown, but the Hawthorne defense did hold those Inglewood Sentinels, and that was a remarkable feat because Devin Flowers, he's one of the leading rushers in all the South Bay. And I think if they can't shut down Leuzinger's ground game tonight, they can win this game.
And so far, both defenses are pitching a shutout here at Olympian Field. The crowd is waiting to get excited about something, but so far they haven't had anything to really get the crowd going. I know it's thrown me off stride just a little bit because you wait for that excitement to come, and it hasn't come yet.
I think everyone is breathless with anticipation tonight. They're just eager to get something to cheer about.
So it's a 3rd down and 3 fans for the Olympians from their own 23-yard line. They keep it on the ground. Keith Miller with the carry. And it's going to be awfully close, but I think it's going to be short of the 1st down. They're saying he got 2, but he needed 3. So the Olympians bring their punt unit out on the field. So it's going to be 4th and 1 for the Olympians from their own 21-yard line. Jermaine Chapman back to receive for the Cougars. Dewan Scott handling the kicking for the Olympians. Scott gets a pretty decent kick away. Chapman's going to handle it at about his own 40-yard line. Coming to the near side here, has some running room, and finally going to be driven out of bounds. But not until he crosses over into Olympian territory at they're going to spot it, looks like, Brian, the Olympian 43-yard line. So with 3 minutes exactly left here in the first half, Cougars going to get the ball in pretty good field position.
Yeah, courtesy of number 15, Mr. Chapman. I mean, he showed a lot of niftiness in that last punt return. He broke about 2 tackles. It was very excellent.
Well, Ray Rivera brings him up to the line of scrimmage once again. This time in the backfield with him is going to be Kevin Jackson, number 20, but Rivera drops back to pass. They set up the screen once again as Dave Salunga with the reception, and is finally brought down over on his side of the field by Eddie Miller. So that's the 2nd time that the Cougars have run that screen play for a big game, Brian.
Yeah, on those pass plays like that, those screens, that's when your linemen can run downfield. And I should say that Hawthorne has some very big linemen. They're anchored by Omar Sooth and then number 76, Tony Terrell. Let's go to the replay.
And here you're going to see on the replay, Brian, as you were about to say, Salunga, number 33, with the reception and the carry. Excuse me, that was for Newell Nagata. I'm sorry, I said Dave Salunga. Salunga, of course, is number 6 for the Cougars. But right now, what little momentum that's been established either way in this game is on the side of the Hawthorne Cougars. Got a momentary stoppage in play. We've got 2:44 left in the first half. It's a scoreless contest. We spot the ball at the 34-yard line of the Olympians. Now they've got it all straightened out, Brian. It's 1st and 10 for the Cougars. This time the Cougars send the man in motion. Rivera drops back to pass, hits his intended receiver out in the flat. It's going to be wrestled down by the Olympian defender. That was Kevin Ukpudi, whose name we haven't called much this season, on the reception for the Cougars.
Let's go to the replay here. Rivera, he hits Capote out in the flats. Capote goes for a nice little yardage there, about 5-yard gain on the play.
That was Charles Taylor for the Olympians with the stop on that play. Now we've got another timeout on the field. Gives us a chance to remind you fans that this is the last game in Channel 60's regular season coverage for 1996. But as the playoff season develops and we see who's going where and who's in. We'll get that information for you. I'm sure if you check the Channel 60 board, you will see where our coverage will be next, because right now it's certainly too soon to tell which of these two teams will be covering. We expect that it'll be one or the other, not likely to be both as in past years, but the game is within distance of Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. We know that distance can go as far as 4 or 5 hours from here. You can bet that the crew from Channel 60 will be there to bring it to you. Back to live action now with 2:25 left in the first half. 2nd down and 6 for the Cougars from the 30-yard line of the Olympians. Rivera dropping back the pass under some pursuit. Pass out in the flat, falls incomplete. That pass intended for Jabari Hamid. And now the Cougar defense getting a little pressure on the quarterback, Rivera, and cause them to make some errant throws. Right now, the Cougars seem to be running their version of the hurry-up offense, except it's not hurrying real quick right now. Now you're going to have Rivera taking the timeout. Looked over the defense, saw something that he either didn't understand or didn't like, Brian. Decided to take the timeout here because the Cougars want to capitalize on this field position and perhaps get a score out of this thing with 2:18 left in the first half of what thus far has been a scoreless contest.
Most definitely. They could gain a lot of momentum if they get a score in this field position right now.
There you get a shot of the cheerleading crew. Of course, they provided just about as much action tonight as the players on the field. As I say, but in a game of emotion, sometimes the players get just a little bit too psyched up, right? And I think that's what's happening right now. But I'm expecting when they go in for the second half, both teams will get a pretty decent tongue lashing from their coaches. And I think you're going to see a very different second half here. The Cougars intend to capitalize on the 2:18 that's left here in the first half, and they've got possession of the ball with a 3rd down and 6 coming up. Rivera drops back. Rivera goes across the middle, incomplete. Throws in the double coverage. Jeremiah McGee and Keith Miller providing the coverage there.
That just won't get it done. Throwing in to double coverage is too risky for Rivera, and he's had a lot of interceptions this year so far, so that's too risky.
Well, if I had my guess, I think you're in 4-down territory, and you can expect, first of all, I'm very doubtful that they're going to attempt the field goal from here. I think this has fake written all over it, if you ask me, Brian. Well, the kick is up, and it's no good. Falls short. So, I guess Coach Robbins fakes out everybody again, because nobody, certainly on the Leuzinger side, expected that they were going to go for that field goal. You expect some type of fake all the way, and actually they do make the attempt. Gutierrez's kick was on line, but fell short.
Well, their two-sport star, Milton Gutierrez, he did attempt that field goal. He plays soccer, he plays football as well. And they wanted to go into halftime with some momentum, just a little edge, and unfortunately they fell short.
So now the Olympians get possession of the ball with 2:12 left in the first half. They've got a chance now. We see some yards being marked off here against the Olympians. Not sure what the call was. Oh, okay. Well, what they're ruling was that the kick was a touchback, and they're moving it back to the 20-yard line where it will be the Olympian ball, 1st and 10. They've got 2 minutes and 12 seconds of their own now, Brian, to make something happen. They keep it on the ground with Eddie Miller. Miller picks up good yardage on the play.
At this time, they need effective clock management. Time is ticking right now. They have less than 2 minutes left in the half.
And you're right about that, Brian, in terms of the clock management. management. What you don't want to do is give the ball back to Hawthorne again. You don't want to create a turnover here. So if you're the Cougars, Olympians rather, there are a couple of things that you need to do on this drive in particular to at least get out of here, a worst case scenario, scoreless first half. They keep the ball on the ground once again. That's Eddie Miller, and he's going to be stopped for little or no gain on the play. So now it's a 3rd down and 2 for the Olympians, Brian, with just over a minute left, minute 5 seconds to be exact, clock running. Big 3rd down here. If you're the Olympians, you want to pick up this first down, if nothing else, to ensure that you'll have possession for the rest of the first half. Rowley dropping back to pass. Rowley under pursuit. Rowley has some running room if he cuts it up, and he does. A lot of running room. And Rowley breaks it across midfield with 41 seconds left. Clock stops momentarily. Let's see if there's going to be a timeout taken. And now we get the indication that there is. So the Cougars unable to defend on the 3rd and 2 play. Olympians come up with a big first down, take it over into Cougar territory as we watch the replay here. Ken Riley on the quarterback keeper. Just high stepping there, Brian. Nice little juke move put on there before he turns it back up. And as I say, finally brought down by Buck McCorvey and other Cougar tacklers.
Well, as long as the Hawthorne DBs cover the wide receivers for Leuzinger, they can give the quarterback all that kind of running room if they want. But they need good coverage on the wide receivers. As long as they can prevent them from getting in the end zone, it'll be okay.
Now, this changes the equation offensively for the Olympians. With 41 seconds left, and we're going to see the replay one more time. Nice fake there put on Dave Salunga, the fine defensive player for Hawthorne. And there you see Buck McCorvey in on the cleanup. What I was going to say is that this gives the Olympians an opportunity to, if nothing else, take at least a couple of strikes in the end zone. We know that Riley has the arm strength to get them there. If the offensive line can hold up, looks like that's what they're going to do. Riley's dropping back to pass. Riley rolls right. Riley lets it go. And it's incomplete. Knocked down by number 15, Jermaine Chapman. No problem there, though.
Number 15, Jermaine Chapman, is Greg Toombs' replacement tonight, and he's certainly stepping up for Toombs tonight. That was an excellent deflection right there.
But I think it was good play calling by the Olympians as well, and just happened to be good defense by the Cougars on that play.
Exactly. They had excellent pass coverage, and they also had great pressure on Kenneth Riley. They had about 4 linemen just pursuing him heavily.
This time the Olympians send 3 receivers to the right side. Riley drops back to pass once again. Goes across the middle. Hits Jeremiah McGee inside the 30, down near the 25 with 24 seconds left. And now we got another stoppage of play by the Olympians. They're down inside the 25 at about the 24, and they take yet another timeout. So right now, with only 24 seconds left, Old Man Mo, as we watch the replay here, pass to Jeremiah McGee there. And McGee gets it down to, it's hard to tell where they officially spotted at. We'll get that for you in just a moment, fans. There you see the replay again. Great reception here, good hands shown by McGee. Looks like it's the 26-yard line to be exact. I mean, I've said the 24, but it's the 26 that they're going to spot it at officially.
Number 15 for the Cougars, Jermaine Chapman. He was giving the receiver a lot of cushion right there, about 5-yard cushion. He should have been playing him a little bit more tight there.
24 seconds left here in the first half. Coach Bobby Greer runs off the field. I'm sure having set the next couple of plays for his Olympians. Riley once again drops back to pass, goes over the middle. And that one's incomplete, nearly picked off. That one was almost picked off by Kete Tuafu. There you see Kete on your screen. Of course, we know he's an integral part of the defensive set for the Cougars, and of course, he's one of their captains as well. Here you see on the replay, Riley's pass across the middle, and hit Tuafu in a bad place, right in the hands, Brian.
It's rather cold out here, so maybe it's having an effect on him.
Second down now for the Olympians. Riley slips and falls, but he hits his intended receiver. He's got to look for the out of bounds now, and he does get out of bounds. That was Devin Green with the reception. 7 seconds left here in the first half. And the Cougars, there you see Devin Green on your screen, 5'9", 170-pound junior. And the Cougars with their best, Olympians rather, with their best offensive threat of the night. There you see Riley slips right there, but gets the pass away before he's ruled down. And Tuafu misses on the tackle there. And Devin Green has the presence of mind to get out of bounds, Brian. Looks like the Cougars are going to make, the Olympians are going to make one more passing attempt, but they've got to let it go. They can get 2 out of this if they let it go now. And touchdown! It was a late whistle. Touchdown! Looks like Devin Green with the reception. All right, fans, we're back for second half action here as the Olympians lead by a score of 6-0 because we had a minor technical glitch there at the end of the first half. Of course, you know that the key thing that happened with time expiring on the clock to end the first half was Ken Riley's touchdown pass to Devin Green, which gave the Olympians a 6-0 lead. In fact, that was the only scoring of the first half. Of course, the extra point attempt. And here you're going to see Riley's touchdown pass again. There you see right over the middle there to Devin Green, number 15. Green makes the catch over Nagata for the touchdown. The extra point attempt, which was when we ran out of tape and made the tape change, was blocked by the Cougars, and that's where we stand right now. One more time, the touchdown pass by Ken Riley, the only score in the first half.
Perfect lane, Rufus, for Ken Riley to throw. Riley, the senior. The one thing that the Olympians, I was waiting for them to do is get the ball into Green's hand. He made the 2 big plays of that drive. And now the Cougars aren't out of this by any stretch of the imagination. Only down 6-0, and touchdown and extra points takes the lead.
And of course, we all know that the Cougars managed that drive to perfection, having gotten possession at their own 20-yard line. It was an 80-yard march with 2:12 left in the first half, and they used up all 2 minutes and 12 seconds of that as they scored the touchdown with no time left on the clock. Extra point attempt was theirs to attempt, though, blocked by Hawthorne, and that's where we stand right now as we get ready to get third quarter action underway with the Cougars leading by a score of 6-0. And right now, Coach Greer seems to be agitated about something, Brian. At one point, I could have swore I heard him all the way up here.
Yeah, but let me tell you what, Rufus. The Hawthorne Cougars, what they're going to have to do in the second half, they're going to have to complete a pass. Leuzinger's not respecting it right now. The Cougars' Ray Rivera is seeing trouble from Eddie Miller every time he goes outside the pocket.
And, of course, we know that Hawthorne will receive to open the second half. And we still aren't entirely sure of what's going on here, but one of the changes that it appears is being made is that you have a new crew of folks. In fact, these are some of the kids from ROTC, just like our Marines, always ready. They're there in their military fatigues, and it looks like they're being called on to handle the yard marking duties. And I'm not sure if that was something where Greer wasn't pleased with those who handled it in the first half. But at any rate, we're ready for second half action, fans. Eddie Miller to handle the kickoff. Back to receive, Brandon Russell, along with number 15, Jermaine Chapman. And Fanua Nagata over on the far side for the Cougars, number 33. But Chapman's the deep man. And this is a short kick that's going to sail out of bounds.
I don't know if that was intentional or what, Rufus, but that was ugly.
Well, they're going to give him the benefit of the rear kick on him. It's going to back him up 5 yards. And they'll try it again.
Chapman's dangerous, Rufus. You kick it to him, he could go a long way. Hawthorne can't get behind by too many points because they're not a passing team. They don't really have that many big play players. Of course, you have Russell and Chapman, but other than that, it's a big fall off.
So here's Eddie Miller's second attempt at it. This time he keeps it in the playing field. Chapman does receive the kick. Chapman heads straight up the middle. He's got a head of steam. There's only one person can stop him. Jermaine Chapman's going to bring this one all the way back, it looks like. '85-yard touchdown return by Jermaine Chapman. And now they're going to correct it from 85 to 92.
What we just say, Rufus, Jermaine Chapman is a dangerous player for the Hawthorne Cougars. Takes it straight up the field all the way. And now Hawthorne can take the lead. And now Hawthorne has the lead, Rufus.
And with 15 seconds gone by here in the third quarter, on the opening play, Jermaine Chapman takes it 92 yards for a touchdown. You're going to see the replay again. Jason, go ahead and call it.
Chapman just straight up the field. That's what he does best. He heads straight up the field, nothing fancy, lets his speed do the talking. And this Leuzinger crowd is silent, Rufus.
Eddie Miller, the kicker, was the last one with a shot at him, and Eddie stumbled on the play. It's tough enough catching him running full stride, and if you stumble, you almost lose any chance you got of catching him.
Last year, Robbie Hughes returned the kick for a touchdown against the Olympians in the Hawthorne-Leuzinger game. This year, it's Chapman.
So, they were waiting for excitement, as I told the fans there in the second quarter, Jason, that both teams were just wound a little bit too tight, and that I thought it would be the second half before they really got on track. And it looks like they have right now. The Cougars have gone on top by a score of 7-6. And this is Charles Taylor with the return for the Olympians. Taylor heads up the sideline before he's bumped out of bounds.
Yeah, they're kicking it away from Rashawn Cook because they know what happens when he gets the ball. Leuzinger went into halftime with the momentum, and now the Cougars have it all on their side. 7-6, Rufus. The Olympians have got to score, or their playoff hopes are over with. As we look at the replay on the kick return, straight up the field by Chapman, nothing fancy, poor kick coverage by the Olympians. The result, the Hawthorne Cougars have the lead.
And there you see the stumble there by Eddie Miller, actually helped by one of the special teams players, but that gave Chapman the hold that he needed. Now you see Eddie Miller with some fancy footwork of his own as he picks up about 8 yards on the play.
What a run that time by Eddie Miller using the spin move we saw Delvon Flowers use a few weeks back. But the Olympians can keep the ball on the ground. They've ran the ball well. No need to panic. You're only down by 1 point.
And I guess if there's an upside, still plenty of time left in the second half, as that was the very first play of the second half. And we've still got 11 minutes here in the third, and of course a whole fourth quarter to play. Right now, score 7-6 in favor of the Cougars, but the Olympians have the ball and they're on the march. Once again, they keep it on the ground. That's Devin Green who picks up the first down as he crosses the 40-yard line.
That's a good guy to get the ball to, Rufus. They got to get it into Green's hand. By the way, Daryl Jeter's in the game. He sat out the first half. Let's see if that'll give the Olympians offensive line a plus. It's 2 big holes already opened up on the first drive.
So it's a first down and 10 now for the Olympians. Riley drops back to pass. Riley on the pursuit by Dave Salunga. Riley steps up. Riley still in possession. He's going to be brought down after a very short gain on the play.
All right, Rufus, what did we say at the top of the telecast? The Leuzinger offensive line is going to have to block. That time, the Cougars, it looked like a screen almost because they had so much pressure in on Riley. Now with a second down and long, Devin Green and Keith Miller coming to the ball game. That's 2 guys that the Olympians have to get the ball to in order to win this game.
And coming off for the Olympians is DeJuan Scott and Eddie Miller. Rashawn Cook split out here to the left. They give it to Devin Green. Devin Green swings out wide left, looking for some running room, turns it up before he's driven out of bounds. And now we got a flag on the play. And this may have been away from the actual action.
I think it's against Buck McCorvey, and it's either against McCorvey or Jeter. Those 2 were involved in it. Let's see what they're going to call. And I think it's against the Olympians, Rufus.
Well, McCorvey seems to be asking, as you watch the replay here, there you see Dave Salunga giving pursuit and Green finally driven out of bounds. And they're going to pick the flag up. Referee's indication is that they're picking the flag up. No infraction on the play. Buck McCorvey was over there pleading with them for a clipping call.
Like 2 attorneys, the Hawthorne and Leuzinger captains, get no call right there. Second down and long, Rufus. They need to go to the air right here. Or maybe just give it to Keith Miller.
Actually, a 3rd and 7 from the 43-yard line. Need to get just about to the midfield stripe. Here's a handoff to Keith Miller. Miller's going to be stacked up at the 45-yard line. It's going to make it a 4th down and 5.
Eddie Miller's going to have to do a better job on the lead block that time. He was just stuffed and blown up. Now the Olympians have to punt the ball away, and look who's back there. It's Brandy Russell and Jermaine Chapman.
There's a kick by DeJuan Scott. Nice high kick. Gives his coverage a chance to get there. Leuzinger defender should fall on that ball. You never know when the official may have thought that someone on the other, because their players were very close to the ball. The Hawthorne players I'm speaking of.
Yeah, Brandy Russell needs to get away from that thing. That thing could have took a bounce and hit him. And if you're the Cougars, no doubt they're keeping the ball on the ground right here.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line now for the Cougars. They lead by a score of 7-6. On the first down play, they keep it on the ground by giving it to Gutierrez, and he's going to be stopped for a very short gain on the play, Jason.
That's a good hit that time by Eddie Miller, but he's got to wrap up or Gutierrez doesn't get those couple extra yards. The Olympians' run defense has played really well tonight, Rufus. 2nd down and long. They want to get Hawthorne into a passing situation because the Cougars haven't done well at that at all this year.
So it's a 2nd down and 8 they're going to call it. They give Gutierrez a gain of a couple on the play.
God damn it.
And got flags here, and looks like this may go against the Cougars, but let's wait for the official indication.
I saw the right guard for the Cougars move, and they're calling it on him. Now it's really 2nd down and long.
Make it a 2nd and 13 now for for the Cougars. This Leuzinger crowd still just a little bit stunned, Jason, by that big turn of events to open the second half there. We've got 8:14 left in the third quarter. Cougars leading by a score of 7-6. Now you're going to have encroachment by the Leuzinger defense, which is going to give them back the 6 yards, the 5 yards, excuse me, Jason.
That's Willard Coleman crossing the neutral zone. They take him out as soon as he makes that mistake. You see him running off the field. So nothing gained, nothing lost for the Cougars. 2nd and 10. I would give the ball right here to Russell, but he's not in the game. So look for the counter play.
Ray Rivera, the quarterback. They line up in a wishbone. That would seem to indicate option. Inside handoff here. They give it to Nagata, and Nagata picks up big yardage. In fact, he picks up a first down as he crosses the 45-yard line.
Nagata that time running like a horse, just running hard and upfield. Nobody was able to stop him that time for the Olympians. And the injured Olympian on the field looks like Jermon McGee, Rufus.
Coach Greer and some of the other team trainers out to assist the injured Olympian.
That hurts because McGee was supposed to come in and play the strong safety position for the Olympians in place of Eddie Miller, who moved to linebacker. So the Olympians are going to have to make up for that right there. They might just have to go back to their old defensive set.
And they seem to be working on his right arm and wrist there, as if though he may have taken a bit of a stinger. And now you see McGee sitting up. Training staff taking him through a few paces just to make sure he's okay before they actually have him come to his feet. Gives us a chance to remind you, as we've talked about all along, with 7:43 left here in the third quarter. And now you see McGee walking off under his own steam. So I think you can expect to see him again in this contest.
Rufus, it's a bounce in the step of the Hawthorne offensive line. They look like they were ready to play right now, and they're starting to take over as they had good block in that last play.
One of the members of the offensive line we're looking for, number 64, Corey Thetford. Don't see him in there right now. Understand that he plays on special teams primarily. There you see Gutierrez with the carry. Well, actually, they switched up on me. They're going to say that was Martinez with the carry. I thought it was Gutierrez, listening to the house announcer who called it wrong. It was indeed Milton Gutierrez with the carry. So right now, Jason, the Olympian defense is going to need to stiffen here and force something.
They look a little bit tired, Rufus. 2nd down and long again, Rufus. Hawthorne likes to go to that counter play. They're taking a while in the huddle. We may see a trick play here. Who knows?
So it's a 2nd down and 8 from the 48-yard line. They need to get it inside the 40 down to about the 39 and a half to pick up the first down. They keep it on the ground. Gutierrez again. Gutierrez going left. Gutierrez is going to pick up good yardage before he's finally taken down. Looks like Rashawn Cook over in on the stop for the Olympians.
Tony Terrell right there showing why he's one of the best offensive linemen in the league. He's only a junior. Turning that corner on the counter play. Did a terrific job blocking, leading through. The Hawthorne offensive line is really taking over. 3rd down and short. Hawthorne should run the ball right here.
The play I consider to be the most important in the game of football, 3rd down plays. Has a bearing both ways, offense and defensively. And if you're an Olympian fan right now, what you want your team to do is to make the third and short stop right here. There's a pitch back to Gutierrez. Gutierrez hits the hole. And you got flags on the play, and I think this is going to be a face mask, Brian. Jason, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be on Keith Miller. Rufus reaching and grabbing. When you reach and grab in football, you get a bad result, and it's going to be a face mask against the Olympians. Good blocking once again. Gutierrez running hard. Knows he has 1st down yardage to get, and he gets it. Rufus, the Olympians have got to step up on defense pretty soon because this game is it for them if they lose. This is for the playoffs. The Hawthorne Cougars look like they're ready to head next week into the playoffs rather than the Olympians.
Well, once again, the Olympian defense is going to be tested here. We've got 5:40 left in the third quarter. Cougars have a first down and 10 at the Olympian 27. Last 15 yards of that came courtesy of the penalty. And now they keep it on the ground once again. That's Fanua Nagata high-stepping down near the well, they're going to say he stepped out of bounds right at about the 1 yard line, boy.
Fanua Nagata is looking like Jerome Bettis right now. He is running hard, and the Olympians cannot stop him once he comes on that counter play. The Olympians are utterly confused. They don't know who's getting the ball, and when they see it's Nagata, as we look at the face mask right there by Keith Miller on Miller Gutierrez, when they see it's Nagata, it's all over for him.
So it's a first and goal from the 1 yard line. There's the handoff to Gutierrez. He's going to be stopped short of the first down. I should say of the goal line because they can't pick up a first down from here. You're in touchdown territory now. That's all they've got their eyes on is the goal line.
What Hawthorne needs to do right now is just line it up and do a quarterback sneak because their offensive line is taking over, period.
The Olympians and their faithful looking for the big stand here. Second and goal. Once again, they keep it on the ground. And this time they get it in. That's Gutierrez. So, Hawthorne extends their lead now to 13-6 over the Olympians with the extra point attempt coming up.
And now, Rufus, look for Hawthorne to go for the 2-point conversion, of course, right here, because that makes it a 2-score game.
There's a snap. It's up. Brandon Russell with the carry. And Russell picks up the 2-point conversion. Excellent call there by Jason. I must admit, I was doubting it myself because if you fail, you give Leuzinger the opportunity to get it and win.
Replay of the touchdown. You see Leuzinger off defensive players on their wheels. Nobody touches him until 2 yards deep into the end zone. Great blocking by that Hawthorne offensive line. And if something dramatic doesn't happen soon, they could be headed toward the playoffs.
So, with 4:41 left here in the third quarter, Hawthorne now has taken a 15-6 lead over the home team Leuzinger Olympians. Leuzinger crowd. Near you see a picture of Bobby Greer right there. Giving a few words of encouragement as well as instruction to Keith Miller.
Rufus, in the last 10 years, this series, of course, is 4-3-3 with the home team only losing one time.
Handoff being handled by Charles Taylor. Rashawn Cook has not had an opportunity tonight. And Taylor is going to be tripped up as he crosses the 25-yard line.
They don't want any part of Rashawn Cook. Wise coaching by Hawthorne's Dan Robbins. He knows that the Olympians' big man is Rashawn Cook. Good job that time of coverage. The Cougars have played well on special teams all night.
Well, you hope that Cook doesn't get any more kickoff opportunities tonight. But I tell you, Jason, for my money, you got to lateral that ball to Rashawn and give him a shot at it.
I think you have to do that when it's desperation time. We got plenty of time left. You don't want to make any mistakes if you're the Olympians.
Yeah, but if he gets another opportunity at a kickoff return, you're going to be in desperation time. 1st and 10. Riley drops back the pass. Pass is incomplete, intended for Rashawn Cook.
Not a very good pass choice that time by Riley. The receiver was covered all the way. You got to look somewhere else. You see the receiver covered all the way. Good coverage that time by the Cougars.
So it's a 2nd down and 10 now for the Olympians. It's time to keep it on the ground. That's Eddie Miller with the carry. And Eddie Miller's going to be out near a 1st down.
That's some of what happened in the first half, Rufus, but you wonder why the Olympians stopped giving the ball to Keith Miller. Pretty soon in the 4th quarter, they're not going to have the luxury to be able to run the ball. Let's look at the replay. Good blocking downfield by 76 DeAndre Hines allows Eddie Miller to get a couple extra yards.
And Miller picks up enough for the 1st down, so it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line for the Olympians. Riley drops back to pass. Riley pulls it down. Riley's going to be near another 1st down. He has the 1st down, actually, before he's pushed back. Let's see how the officials rule. The officials going to rule forward progress and still Olympian ball.
Rufus, the offensive line has to block better. Let's take another look at it. There's a bad block that time by number 5, Eddie Miller. Is going to have to help out a little bit better than that. Ken Riley being forced to run. You don't want your quarterback running all the time. He's going to get hurt out there. But Riley does know what to do with the ball. You see him fumble, but they say his forward progress stopped. Let's look at the replay again. Riley getting upfield, and Buck McCorvey's going to barely get him by his shirt tail. And Riley's just simply going to lose control of it, trying to get extra yards.
So it's a 1st down and 10 for the Olympians at the 49-yard line. Riley back to pass. Riley over the middle. Pass incomplete, intended for Jermon McGee. And Riley goes down under the pressure from Kete Ta'afo along with Jermaine Chapman on him.
Yeah, Hawthorne came with an all-out blitz that time. They came with Chapman at the safety position. Riley didn't have enough time. No communicating in the backfield. Once again, Leuzinger is going to have to block a little bit better if they want to come out on top tonight.
So for the Olympians, 2nd down and 10. Running onto the field, Devin Green for him. Coming off looks like Chris Rogers, number 18. Haven't called his name much tonight. Riley once again, back to pass. Riley looks over the field, throws the flare pass. Misses his intended receiver, Charles Taylor.
Good coverage downfield by the Cougars. The Olympians have Devin Green in the backfield. They need to get him out on a flare or something. I don't understand, Rufus. These excellent players like Devin Green is not seeing the ball after you made a couple big plays in the first half. Now with 3rd and 10, you're forced to pass, and the Hawthorne defensive backs can just watch and wait.
Just over 3 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. Hawthorne leading by a score of 15-6, courtesy of 2 second-half scores. They pull a draw play this time. Keith Miller has some running room, and he picks up the 1st down.
Excellent play. Everybody thought that they were going to throw the ball, including yours truly. Excellent job by Ken Riley of faking the pass. Look, he gets up in the Statue of Liberty formation, has the linebackers frozen right there. And Keith Miller does the rest by himself, reads his blocks nicely, sees his friend Buck McCorvey, and runs through his tackle. Excellent running by Keith Miller.
And that's a rarity there, fans. You don't often see Buck McCorvey miss a tackle. But his missed tackle gives the Olympians a 1st down. They keep it on the ground once again. This time they run a fresh running back at him. That's James Murray. That's Murray's 1st carry of the night.
The Olympian offensive line is starting to open up a few holes. This is what they need to do. James Murray seeing his 1st carry of the game. Let's look at it again. A quick trap, perfectly called. Good blocking by Hines. Evelyn Smith did a terrific job.
So it's going to be should be a 2nd and short, about 2nd and a yard and a half for the Olympians from the 29-yard line of the Cougars. Murray again alone back in the backfield. Riley dropping back to pass. Riley has a lane he can step up in. Now he throws off his
wide
back
open.
foot. Devin Green, overthrows him. And Green had gotten behind the defensive backs, and there was an angle there that he had on him, or at least an open space there, and Riley couldn't hit him.
That's a tough pass to make, running full speed to your right. Oh, boy, was Green open that time. That would have made this big crowd erupt. Now it's 3rd down and short. Keith Miller's in the ball game. Look for him to get the ball, Rufus.
And I think they took that 2nd and short for the free play that it's considered to be, because you're obviously in 4th down territory. May as well take the pop now. Here they keep it on the ground. There's Keith Miller picking up the easy 1st down. And you got to think that Coach Bobby Greer figured we can do that anytime we get ready.
Yeah, that's the trap. Leuzinger's bread and butter for years. Look at Keith Miller, but Daryl Jeter is the one that's doing a terrific job. He looks a little angry. He's pointing to himself. He's gonna have to be one of the guys to step up if Leuzinger wants to win. On the other side of the ball, let's look at the defense. Hawthorne getting fooled by the trap. They should start to get wise to it. The Cougars defense looks a little tired with everybody with their hands on their hips.
All right, well, it's a 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. We've got 1:25 left here in the 3rd quarter. Here's a pitch back to Eddie Miller. Eddie Miller's being strung out now. And Buck McCorvey strung that one out until he could get there, and he makes the tackle.
Buck McCorvey, that's what a linebacker does, Rufus. You shuffle down the field. You see the man with the ball, and you come up and make a tough tackle like that. You look at Big Buck.
And there are a lot of guys out here playing tonight, fans, that you're going to see play on Saturdays, and maybe even a few of them play on Sundays in the years to come. But you can just about put money on the fact that somewhere next year Buck McCorvey will be playing on Saturdays for somebody. Big defensive player for the Cougars, as he has been for the last couple of seasons. 2nd down and 11 now. There's a pass once again, incomplete. That pass looked like it was intended for Chris Rogers. But we've got a flag on the play over on the far side.
They're calling illegal motion, Rufus. That shouldn't happen in a big game like this. But Rogers and Riley not on the same page. As Rogers wasn't looking towards the quarterback when Riley threw the ball on the slant.
So with 31 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter, scoreboard shows that it's 2nd down and 16 from the 23-yard line.
Look at Devin Green, Rufus. That's the man I think the Olympians want to get the ball to.
And Green goes to the right in the slot. Riley dropping back the pass. Riley under pressure. Riley need to make a decision. Riley still running, still has it. Ken Riley heads upfield, and he's going to be brought down. Picks up pretty decent yardage on the play, but not nearly enough for the 1st down. And the clock's going to expire on 3rd quarter action here. Well, it stops momentarily at 6 seconds, and there's a flag on the field as well.
It's against the Cougars. That's what Keith Miller's saying. Defensive holding, Rufus.
Well, if it is, most importantly, it'll give them the automatic 1st down.
All right, Rufus, as I get ready to leave you, 2nd down and 15, what the Olympians need to do is just get the ball to their big money players. They have Green, they have Rashawn Cook. They have a bunch of talented players out here that they can get the ball to. They're not out of this ball game. If you're the Cougars, what you need to do is control the ball, and you can't allow drives like this that just milk you all the way downfield, and the Olympians looking to take over. Holding on Hawthorne, like we said earlier, Rufus. It's automatic 1st down, I believe.
Well, it should be on a defensive hold, an automatic 1st down.
No automatic 1st down, just the yardage.
Okay, so they call it a 2nd down and 1 from the 12. Riley's going to drop back the pass. Riley's under pursuit route, and Riley's going to be sacked. He loses big yardage on the play. That time the Olympian brain trust may have outsmarted itself instead of picking up the short first down on the short and then going for the other stuff. So that's the end of 3 quarters, fans, and here we watch the replay once again with the pursuit that's going to come on Ken Riley. That's number 46 from Hawthorne with the pursuit, Russell Edmonston. So, as we start 4th quarter action, fans, there you see the score on your screen. The Hawthorne Cougars 15, Leuzinger 6. Hawthorne scoring, of course, coming courtesy of the 92-yard kickoff return by Jermaine Chapman that opened second half action. And then the second touchdown, they're struggling here for a moment, but they did score again, I should say. And on the second touchdown, they went for the 2-point conversion. They were successful, and that made the score 15-6. And that's where we stand right now as we open 4th quarter action. There you see Coach Bobby Greer momentarily on your screen, realizing that unless the Olympians can come up with 10 points here in the 4th quarter and shut them out on the other hand, their season may well be over. Out of the shotgun. Here's Riley dropping back the pass once again. There's Riley's pass intended for Devin Green, but the reception was made by Jeremiah McGee. You could have sworn that pass was intended for Devin Green, but Jeremiah McGee went up and brought it down. And it's going to be 1st and goal to go for the Olympians from the 2-yard line. Here you see the replay once again. Now, if we see the end of this, there you see McGee go up, but I'll bet you a nickel. And there you see it, keep it on the ground. No indication yet. Keith Miller over right guard. It's going to be stopped short. Gets down near the 1-yard line. That ball was intended for Devin Green. Brian.
Yeah, I must say on that last play, McGee showed some hops. He leaped up in a myriad of defenders, and he just grabbed the ball down. Excellent poise. You saw that Kenneth Riley, who was airing the ball out. I mean, he has a strong arm as well as he's a good rusher.
So it's a 2nd down and goal from the 1-yard line. Riley this time calls his own number, but he's going to be pushed out. Don't think he made it, fans, to be honest with you. Official still no call. Now you're going to have a 3rd down and goal as you see the replay once again.
Right there. We right there. Let's go. Hey, let's go.
So it's a 3rd and goal from the 1 now. 10:45 left in the 3rd. This is real simple football. I'm sorry here, Brian, as we watch this play develop. Got a fumble on the play. Did they blow it? Let's see. And it's going to be Hawthorne's ball. A huge turnover that time for the Olympians, recovered by Dave Salunga. And boy, you talk about bad breaks. That was a bad break. Watch the replay here. Call it, Brian.
Here we see Kenneth Riley takes a snap. There seems to be a little mix-up here. That's with running back Keith Miller. There's a mix-up in the possession there. Maybe Miller didn't know that he was going to get the ball. Let's look at it at another angle here. You see Kenneth Riley takes a snap, and he has a mix-up there with Keith Miller. And he's unable to handle the ball. Unfortunately, now it's Cougars balls.
So from the 4-yard line, 1st and 10 for Hawthorne. They start by keeping it on the ground, of course, with 10:20 left, leading by a score of 15-6. That was Gutierrez with the carry. But a huge, huge mistake for the Olympians. Well, you talk about putting yourself right back in the contest. Instead, they do just the opposite and momentarily take themselves out of the contest. Second down and 2 now for, looks more like 4, quite frankly, fans. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This time it's Nagata, and they're going to say that Nagata was down on the knee, although he got back up.
Well, in the beginning of this telecast, I said that this game was like a Shakespearean tragedy. And in my third point, I was saying that it means certain death for one of the teams tonight. And right now, it looks like it could be Leuzinger. I mean, I would like to see both of these teams go on to the playoffs, but right now, it's not looking good for the Leuzinger Olympians.
All right, it's a 3rd down and 1 for the Cougars. Leuzinger defense playing tight. They show blitz. Here's a pitch back to Gutierrez. Looks like he's going to have the 1st down. And, of course, more than anything else, that's going to give Hawthorne the opportunity to eat more time off that clock.
Yeah, now they're going to just run the ball. Look for Dan Robbins just to run all over Leuzinger Olympians.
Still a lot of time left as we're just under 9 minutes in the contest, fans, but Hawthorne leads by a score of 15-6, and they got possession right now, courtesy of the Leuzinger turnover at the Hawthorne 2-yard line. Olympians were knocking on the door, and you had a fumbled handoff between Ken Riley and Keith Miller. They actually bumped into each other, and the ball came loose. Hawthorne recovered. They've already picked up 1 first down, and they're pushing for more. Now they've got an official's timeout on the field.
That was number 15, Jermaine Chapman on the carry. He's putting in some work tonight. He's already had 1 touchdown. I guess perhaps Dan Robbins giving him a chance to break one more.
Well, right now you can hear a pall come over the Leuzinger crowd. A little concerned at this point. You have to be. I think they have an opportunity here to play some good defense and to perhaps get this ball back. But if they continue to give away first downs, their scoring challenges become even more difficult.
Well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say that the Leuzinger defense, they have some key people in the South Bay. I mean, they have Rashawn Cook coming in tonight. He had three receptions on the year. And then they have Eddie Miller. He's had 11 and a half sacks this total year. I mean, they have some good people.
And, of course, one of the very best of them on that defensive side. And right now you see him on the sidelines. And, of course, being on the sideline doesn't help the Olympians. That's Keith Miller. And that's yet another blow. You see Miller working his way to the back of the sideline for the Olympians, but back to live action. Ray Rivera, the quarterback. Rivera hands it off to Gutierrez. Man, they're just keeping it on the ground right now. So it's going to make it what should be a 3rd and long for the Cougars.
Right now, the Leuzinger Olympians are fighting 2 enemies. They're fighting the Cougars, and they're fighting time right now. It doesn't look good for them.
Well, they've got to make the 3rd down stop here, because each one of these first downs costs you about 2 minutes of playing time, and it's a 3rd and 3 from the 25-yard line. Once again, Rivera they fake the handoff, and they come the other way. Looks like the Olympians may have stopped them. They run the counter play. Nagata with the carry. But it's going to bring up a 4th and 1.
As history teaches us, you can't fight a battle on 2 fronts. Hitler in World War II, he was unsuccessful in defeating the enemy, the Allies, and fighting a two-front war. And you look at the Leuzinger Olympians here, I mean, they cannot fight the time and then fight the Cougars all at once. So they're going to have to cut down on some offense here.
All right, well, Gutierrez is back in punt formation. Of course, the main thing is you want to make sure that he punts. Rashawn Cook back to receive. And you're going to have a delay of game call here against Hawthorne. And obviously what Hawthorne was looking to do here, Brian, was to draw the Olympians offside to see if they could pick up the cheap first down. The Olympians showed a great deal of discipline on that play by not jumping offside, and now you for sure have what should be a legitimate punting situation. And it's going to be a very short punt, and it's going to sail out of bounds in Cougar territory at the Cougar 44-yard line. So Leuzinger with 6:29 left in the contest. It's going to be first down and 10 for them from the 44-yard line. That's excellent field position, opportunity for the quick score.
We'll see Rufus, the Leuzinger Olympians, they're gonna need at least 2 touchdowns to come out victorious in this game. So they have 6 minutes and 29 seconds to operate with. It's not a lot of time, so they need to score quickly here on this drive.
Well, actually, they need 10 points at 15-6 in order to win the game. With a touchdown and a field goal to do the trick. You got to take them one at a time. Here's a handoff to Keith Miller. He's got a big hole. Whoa. But for the shoestring tackle made by Keith Green, Miller may have been gone all the way, Brian.
Yeah, the only tackler that was back there was Jermaine Chapman. Let's go to the replay. We see Miller takes a snap, and he just goes right up the middle. And there was just him and Chapman on that last play.
So it's another first down for the Olympians. Once again, they give it to Keith Miller. This time Miller picks up about 5 yards around the right side. Clock continues to run, though. We're at 6 minutes left in the contest. There you see a picture of Miller on your screen, 6'1", 205-pound junior. Brother, no less, of one of my other co-announcers, Jason Miller, who you hear most frequently during first and third quarter action. Of course, this is the fourth quarter, and Brian Knox is working with me. So it's a 2nd down and 6, Brian. This time the inside handoff is to Eddie Miller. Eddie Miller fights for a couple of yards. 3rd down play coming up now. Obviously, the Olympians are going to exhaust all 4 downs if need be in an attempt to pick up the first down.
They're going to have to move the chains so they can stop this clock.
Well, it's a 3rd down and 6 now from the 24-yard line. They indicate on the scoreboard. Here's a handoff to Keith Miller. He breaks a tackle at the line of scrimmage, has some running room. It's going to be out near the first down, boy. Keith Miller's effort alone.
Rufus, the Olympians, I don't know what they're doing clock management-wise. They're taking too long to get the plays off. They're not going to leave enough time. As we look at the replay, this is going to give it to Miller on an inside give. That's supposed to go up the middle, but he reads it, bounces outside, and does the rest all by himself, Rufus. Breaking 62's tackle, and then lunging for the first down.
And it does give him the first down, but the clock continues to roll. And the Olympians need 2 scores. Riley back to pass. Riley pulls it down. Riley still has it, still running down inside the 10-yard line. And that's going to stop the clock momentarily as they move the chains. Cut it to 4, brings him down. So the Cougar faithful right now over on that other side of the field getting just a little bit nervous once again.
Let's go to the replay. You see Kenneth Riley. He's showing some moves on the Hawthorne defense.
And Leuzinger uses one of their 3 second-half timeouts. And let's keep track of these timeouts very closely, Brian, because this is going to, I think, become a major factor, particularly if Leuzinger is able to score here, having to use that timeout. You would think they would have wanted to save them, perhaps, but right now, Coach Greer realizing with the score 15-6 that the Olympians must score on this possession. He wants to get out there, make sure his guys know exactly what they're doing.
With little over 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the score is now 15-6. As you said, Hawthorne and Leuzinger Olympians, they need 2 scores. They need 2 touchdowns to win this game. And this is a critical drive, and this could be the season for them. It could mean do or die.
Well, Brian, I must remind you, just so you don't put too much pressure on some of our fans who may be weak of heart, they don't actually need 2 touchdowns. They do need 1 touchdown, and a field goal would do the trick. They're down by a total of 9 points.
Now, I think they need to score a touchdown here.
There's a pass over the middle, touchdown! Riley on the touchdown pass to Keith Miller. And that brings the crowd to their feet. Of course, Leuzinger still trails right now by a score of 15-12 with an extra point attempt coming up. And this becomes an important extra point attempt, and I think that you'll see the Olympians go for the singleton. The deuce doesn't do you any good at 15-14 because you still got to have another score in the form of a field goal. So let's see what the attempt is here as we watch it on our monitor. I don't understand this. Here's your attempt by Jerry Chapman. Looks like he's going to make it. What's the call? And he does. So that makes it 15-14. Although, and I don't know, I want to get Jason in here for a second, or one of you guys that can talk about the kicking game. First of all, there must not be a kicking game because that's unnecessary risk, if you ask me.
Right. Leuzinger doesn't have confidence in the kick. They need to get into the playoffs, so they cannot afford a tie, Rufus. But let me tell you something about Devin Green. That's the best run of the season. It's only 2.5 yards, but it's still the best run of the season. As you look at the replay, Ken Riley, he's looking to run it first and finds Keith Miller wide open.
And I did call that as Jermaine Chapman. I mean, a lot of these guys wear the same numbers, and we call them all season. And for a moment there, I got caught up in the confusion. Of course, number 15 in blue is Devin Green. Brian.
You saw number 4, Keith Miller, for the Leuzinger Olympians. He ran a delay. He provided Kenneth Riley a little pass protection.
And now here's the kickoff by the Olympians. A short kick, fumbled around, and it's going to be downed right there. So, Hawthorne goes on possession at the 21-yard line from their own 21. Now the Olympian defense is going to be called on as it never has been before this season, Brian. This is the season. Let's put it in perspective for the fans. Let's set the table. The score 15-14 in favor of the Cougars. 3:58 left in the contest. Cougars have possession of the ball. Leuzinger has 2 timeouts. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Ray Rivera still the quarterback. Rivera, they keep it on the ground. No surprise there. Gutierrez, short gain on the play. It's going to make it a 2nd and long now.
This is what classic rivalries are made up of. I mean, this is going to be a stand by the defense for Leuzinger. I mean, they have to come across shutting down this Hawthorne Cougar defense. You see Ray Rivera there on your screen.
2nd down and 8 for the Cougars now. Once again, they keep it on the ground. That's Brandon Russell with the carry. Russell got some running room. Looks like Russell picks up the 1st down and let him get away, boy. They certainly had him trapped. We've got 3:04 left. There you see Brandon Russell on your screen. 5'10", 180-pound junior.
Brandon Russell, a 2.2 sports star, showing a little 4-5 speed there. Let's take a look at that play. Okay, it's going to be a sweep to the left. Brandon Russell, he broke one tackle there by Keith Miller. He busts outside. keeps running on his feet and goes for the first down. Excellent play.
It looks like we've got an injured Olympian down on the field. Can't see who it is, to be quite honest with you, fans. He's down behind the huddle of the Hawthorne Cougars.
This is it, Rufus. There is no tomorrow. I must say that every team, everybody here must seize the day. I mean, this is what they're going to be looking back on for years from now. They're going to be wondering, you know, what could I have done, you know? So they must do the best right now.
Now we're being told by the house announcer that the injured Olympian that's down is Keith Miller. Still being attended to by the training staff. Now you see him getting to his feet, coming off under his own steam. And Miller's been banged around all season, but you talk about competitors. I mean, this kid is one game competitor. And now you see him walking off the field very, very slowly. Not sure if he's a little woozy or what, but he certainly was taking his time. Now it's a first down and 10, clock running just under 3 minutes. Olympians needing to force a turnover of their own. But once again, Hawthorne keeping it on the ground. And the defense gets there as they knock Brandon Russell back for about a two-yard loss on the play, I should say. And I think you'll see them allow Hawthorne to run one more play before they start to use those timeouts on defense. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. Olympians trailing by a point. Score 15-14. Second down and 15 for the Cougars from their own 30-yard line. Last thing I think you'll see the Cougars do is pass the ball, Brian. There's a handoff again. They keep it on the ground. The Leuzinger defense there once again. And the Olympians continue to let the clock run. Obviously, this is by design, perhaps. They're going to use this timeout a little later.
Leuzinger needs to use a timeout right now. The clock is just running. The Cougars hanging onto the ball.
Minute 30 left. Big third down play here. Riley dropping back to pass. Hits Brandon Russell. And folks, that will just about do it for the ball game. Boy, you talk about a backbreaker, Brian. That was one.
I tell you, if the Hawthorne Cougars can hold on to the ball without any turnovers, that could be the nail in the coffin right there for the Leuzinger Olympians. I mean, all the Hawthorne Cougars needed to do was just get that first down and then just move the chains, keep the clock rolling. Because, I mean, Leuzinger Olympians, they don't have a lot of timeouts, so that was excellent.
Well, Leuzinger only has 2 timeouts, and of course, the Leuzinger faithful were hoping for the defensive stop on that play, and it looks like they had the thing set up right where they wanted it. It was going to be third and long, but instead they give up the first down play with only 2 timeouts. Not a lot of hope left here. And you see them keep it on the ground. You see a flag come in there. The flag will momentarily stop the clock, but as it stands, if this play stands, Gutierrez has picked up a first down. Okay. So there was a penalty call against the Cougars, holding. And quite frankly, that play started with 1:29 left, and the clock never moved. So it's going to be a second down and 10 now. They're calling it for the Cougars. The ball is spotted at the 45-yard line. Indication is for the clock to start running, but it doesn't, so the referee's going to stop play now.
Rufus, Brandy Russell, has he shown us something tonight or what? 2 big plays, 2 big first downs. We've seen both teams come out with a lot of heart. Leuzinger, Rufus with 2 timeouts remaining, so basically it's not all but over. They turn the clock off, as you see.
What you see is a little home team clock management there. First of all, the clock had not moved at all, and now it's all discombobulated. I mean, it's showing 66 seconds, and of course we know that there's no such thing on the clock as 60-some seconds. But while they're getting a chance to sort this out, that gives the Olympian defense at least a chance to catch his breath with 1:29 left here, Brian. Still hoping for a big turnover or something. And all you can do is basically go for strips of the football because you know Hawthorne's not going to throw it.
You know what the defense can try to do is try to gang tackle. One person should try to hold the legs, and then another person comes in and tries to strip the ball. That's the best thing for them to do right now.
Well, they're still working on the clock here, trying to get it set. And the one thing you don't want to see, there you see obviously, well, you see the 29-second portion of the time that was left. Now they need to get the 1 minute sign up there. Well, it looks like they're going to try to run it down from 2 minutes now. Okay, so they're going to burn off the 31 seconds to get it down to 1:29. As we said before, here's what's at stake, fans, is a playoff spot. The winner will definitely go on to the playoffs, and the loser may be on the outside looking in with a 500 record. The winner will go to 6-4 overall. The loser will end their season at 5-4, 4-3 in Bay League competition for the loser. For the season, the winner will end at 5-2.
The loser of this game, there will be no tomorrow for them. It's just that simple. That's what makes this game so great.
And it looks like the clock is back running in good order now as it rolls under 1:20 seconds left. Hawthorne taking all the time in the world now. It's a 2nd down and 10 play. Olympians still looking for the big stop here. Rivera rolls out. Rivera just running around. Rivera won't go out of bounds, that's for sure. Now the Olympians use a timeout, and by my count, they should have 1 left. And this is going to be a 3rd down and 10 now. So the Olympians should get this ball back, Brian. There you see Rivera on your screen. Rivera under strict orders to just hold on to the ball, it would appear.
Well, in this critical situation, this clutch situation, you do want the ball in Rivera's hands. He is a speedy quarterback. I mean, he's a two-sport star. He runs track, plays football, has a lot of endurance, and he has 4.5 speed as well.
And quite frankly, well, you know, I mean, there's confusion between the sideline marker shows 3rd down, the scoreboard shows 2nd down. Of course, that's extremely critical for the moment, fans. In the absence of any other information, I'm going to go with the sideline marker, which the side judge is standing over there right beside, and you would think that certainly if he noticed that that was wrong and should be 2nd down, he would have him change it. So the appearance is that it's a 3rd down, and now the scoreboard is corrected to reflect that. Score 15-14, as you see, 3rd and 11. Ball at the 45, 57 seconds left. Leuzinger with 1 timeout. Hawthorne in possession. Leuzinger has to stop him here on this 3rd down play. No question about it. Here's the inside handoff. Here's a big hole over here. Boy, if they don't, well, that's it now. You talk about a knockout blow. They came the opposite way, and it's all for naught now. You know, the only thing, let's watch the replay again. There you see the beautiful fake to Gutierrez. Instead, Nagata gets the carry, covers it up beautifully, comes around the left side. James Murray finally gets a leg tackle on it, but not until after he picked up the first down, which will just about seal the Olympians' fate, Brian.
As you can see, the big back, Fanua Nagata, he went for that large run, and you see everyone, all the defensive backs just standing clear of him. No one really wanted to tackle him because they know they would take a lot of breath out of him.
Nagata, 6 foot, 201 pound player there.
Rufus, Fanua Nagata, and Brandy. We're going to look at the replay first. Look at Tony Terrell come out. He didn't even have anybody to block. He could just go upfield and tee off on a defensive back, but James Murray does a terrific job to make the tackle. Hawthorne's been successful on that play all night long.
Well, the most you can do as a coach is try to get your players in a position to be competitive or to win. Both coaches have done that for their respective teams. And in that last instance, Coach Bobby Greer had his guys in position, and there you see Rivera take the knee with 46 seconds left. Looks like he's going to have to run one more play. But clearly, victory is in the hands of the Hawthorne Cougars tonight. Gives me an opportunity to remind you that this has been a Lawndale Community Cable Channel 60 production under the direction of Mike Galarza, along with Tom Strickfaden, Robin Medina on camera, Jose Bravo on camera, and we had a couple of new folks helping us out tonight. And there is the last play of the contest, fans, as they take yet another knee, and with 12 seconds, that's going to be the end of the old ball game. Our hats off as you see the clock tick down to the Hawthorne Cougars, who come in here tonight and on the strength of 2 third-quarter touchdowns, they get out of here with a victory over the Leuzinger Olympians by a score of 15-14, and in all likelihood, they've extended their season. This, of course, concludes regular season coverage for Channel 60. As the playoff pairings are announced, our decisions will be made as to where we will be, but check the cable bulletin board for further information. But right now, as we wrap up our regular season coverage, let me start by getting Jason Miller in here for his concluding comments.
I tell you what, Rufus, we all benefited from a terrific game, well played on both sides of the ball. Leuzinger has nothing to be ashamed of. Hawthorne Cougars, congratulations. They did a terrific job in the clutch. That offensive line, it was just a matter of time until they took over, and they did. Rufus, but the Olympians don't have anything to hang their head off of, and congratulations to the Cougars.
And I think you're going to have some Hawthorne fans looking for a Hawthorne beanie for Jason to wear around for a week or so. If you recall his promise from last week, if Hawthorne came in here and won this game, which they did by a single point, that he'd wear their beanie. Brian Knox, your closing comments.
Well, in the beginning, I said that this game had the makings of a Shakespearean tragedy. It had an intriguing plot. I mean, with the rivalry with comrade versus comrade, family against family, and as well, it also had certain death implications. The winner of this game goes on to the playoffs. The loser, they have to hang up all their gear for the season. And Hawthorne, they did come out victorious. And I just tip my hat off to them, and I wish them much success. And for Leuzinger, I wish them the best in the future and for next year.
All right, well, as we surmise that it is perhaps the end of the Olympian season based on the way the playoff structure is, their chance of getting in is very slim. And, of course, we're going to keep any hope that there is for them to get in there alive at this point. Those decisions will be made tomorrow. But the important thing is that tonight the Hawthorne Cougars come into Olympian Field and they sneak out of here with a 15-14 victory over the Leuzinger Olympians, and they have guaranteed themselves a shot in the 1996 CIF Southern Section playoffs. Let me say, for the entire crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 6, including my co-announcers Brian Knox and Jason Miller and Rufus Washington, saying that this has been a wonderful season with you here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. I hope you'll join us somewhere down the line. And for the Hawthorne faithful and for Herb, I know you're somewhere up there smiling on your Cougars' victory tonight. For everybody here, I want to say good night, and we'll see you in the playoff, fans, from Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.